Back here in Washington tonight, President Trump saying Republicans in the Senate should repeal Obamacare first and replace it later. It's the latest chapter in the long-running and so far unsuccessful saga of GOP efforts to get rid of the last president's health care overhaul. We have Team Fox coverage tonight. Mike Emanuel's on Capitol Hill with the growing pressure from there. But first up, Chief White House Correspondent John Roberts from the North Lawn. And good evening there, John.
And good evening to you, Bill. After letting the Senate and his legislative staff do most of the lifting to get an initial proposal, President Trump is now heavily invested in the Senate health care bill. But he made it clear today that's not the only thing that he wants to change. In his first face-to-face encounter with newly elected South Korean President Moon Jae-in, President Trump made it clear today he's not happy with the terms of the Korea-U.S. free trade deal and wants it changed.
You know who signed it. You know who wanted it. Our trade deficit with South Korea has increased by more than $11 billion. Not exactly a great deal.
It's unclear who President Trump was blaming for the deal. While it went into effect under the Obama administration in 2012, it was negotiated and signed during the Bush administration. Either way, the White House today announced the deal would be renegotiated.
Ambassador Lighthizer is calling a special joint committee meeting to start the process of renegotiating and amending the deal.
The president today also upended negotiations over a Senate health care bill in a nod to holdout conservatives tweeting a new proposal. Quote, if Republican senators are unable to pass what they are working on now, they should immediately repeal and then replace at a later date. Before taking office, President Trump insisted repeal and replace had to happen together in order to guarantee continuity of coverage.
It'll be repeal and replace. It will be essentially simultaneously.
The tweet brought applause from conservative senators who say the current Senate proposal doesn't go far enough to repeal Obamacare. The White House today denied the president had changed his thinking.
The president hasn't changed his thinking at all. We're still fully committed to pushing through with the Senate at this point, but we're looking at every possible option of repealing and replacing Obamacare.
In another tweeted policy change, the president today announced he was sending federal help to crime-plagued Chicago, writing, quote, crime and killings in Chicago have reached such epidemic proportions that I am sending in federal help. 1,714 shootings in Chicago this year. President Trump is sending 20 ATF agents and a mobile ballistics analysis lab to the Windy City. They'll join up with Chicago PD to create a gun crime task force. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says the move is sorely needed.
Policies in Chicago have not been working. Murders are way too high. It is critical for the people of Chicago, public safety, that we begin to work together here.
And after a day of withering criticism over his tweet about morning show host Mika Brzezinski, President Trump waded into the fray again today, dismissing a claim by Brzezinski's co-host Joe Scarborough that he offered to spike a salacious story about the couple in the National Enquirer, run by a friend of the president's, if Scarborough apologized for months of biting criticism. The president tweeting, quote, watched low-rated Morning Joe for first time in long time. Fake news. He called me to stop a National Enquirer article. I said no. Bad show.
A source familiar with the matter tells Fox News that Joe Scarborough called Jared Kushner, with whom he has a friendly relationship, to ask if there was anything that could be done about the article. The source says Kushner told him, well, you have to talk to the president about that, to which Scarborough reportedly replied, well, he's mad at me, to which Kushner said, well, then maybe you should apologize. Source insists, Bill, that there was no quid pro quo involved here.
Well, and on it goes. Thank you, John. John Roberts from the White House tonight.